everyone, it's Holly and I'm back with another Disney transportation video. And to really start all of this talk about Disney transportation, you first have to actually get to Disney World. So there are several ways you can get to Disney World, obviously. The big ones being to drive yourself or take an airplane. So if you take a plane, then you are most likely going to be flying into the Orlando International Airport, also known as MCO. What we're going to talk about today is specifically coming from MCO, and we're going to talk about Magical Express. Now, I am aware that Magical Express is going away at the end of the year. It will no longer be running starting in 2022. I am also saddened by this situation. So previously, because Magical Express has changed a little bit over the years, so let's talk about what it was in concept, just as like a little bit of background. Also, potentially some of these things could come back. We'll get into that. Also, if you hear anything, it's my cat. I can't make him stop playing with things, so he's going to make noise. So Magical Express is a free service that is offered by the Walt Disney World Resort, where you sign up as long as you're staying on property at one of their resorts, and you are able to get a bus ride from the Orlando International Airport to your resort. In the past, in addition to getting this free bus ride for you or your family, your traveling party, they would also transport your bags for you. So what they would do is in the mail, they would send you these yellow luggage tags that are just like the tags that the airline puts on your luggage. And then you would put those on your bags. And then when you got to the airport in Orlando, all you would have to do is literally walk to the Magical Express pickup in Terminal B and check in, and you would be on your way to your hotel, and then Disney would get your bag. So it would take several hours. Now, if you landed very late at night, a lot of times they would not pick up your bags. Or one time I landed very late. I think we got in at like 10:30. They did pick up our bags, but we actually didn't get them until the following day. We could have gotten them earlier, but there was some miscommunication between us and the front desk staff about whether or not we had to call to get them or not, but it was fine. Whatever. It worked out. Wasn't a big deal. Also, Magical Express used to offer Airline Check In. I think it was about 6 airlines, including Southwest, which is primarily what I fly. You were able to check in at your hotel the morning of your flight, and there you would get your boarding pass, and they would tag your bags and then take your bags, and then they would make sure your bags got to the airport, so you never had to go to the ticket counter or anything like that. In the current coronavirus environment, Magical Express is still running. However, you have to do all of your own bag stuff. So when you land at the airport, you have to go to the baggage claim, get your bag, and then go over to the Magical Express counter to check in and get on your bus. And when you are returning to the airport, you have to bring your bags with you, which means you have to check in at the ticket counter. I never realized how far away the Southwest ticket counter was until my trip in November, when I had to walk that. And oh man, I specifically don't want like hotel check-in to go away. I hope that comes back. You had all of these services. They were free to you. They were just included, complimentary as part of your stay for staying at the Walt Disney World Resort. I don't think Disney has ever explicitly said why they decided to offer Magical Express, but to me, Magical Express has always been seen as a loss leader. So it's something where Disney is probably losing money because they're not making any money off of it. And instead, the idea is, as I have always thought of it and how I have heard other people hypothesize why it exists, is because it creates like a good atmosphere, environment. You get on this bus, there's Disney like propaganda playing for you, and then cartoons that get you excited for your trip. When you're leaving, they play videos that super make you sad. People call it the Tragical Express. 100% agree. Makes you want to come back. It kind of like immerses you in the world right away, but it also keeps you as a captive audience, because most likely if you are getting Magical Express, you are not getting a rental car, which means that you can't easily get off of Disney property. Now obviously with Uber and Lyft, I think it's a little easier than before, but still a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And so you're instead there. So you're not going to go to Publix. You're not going to go eat off property. You are going to be buying and eating everything at Disney. So that's why it would be considered a loss leader. Like I said, Magical Express is set to end at the end of 2021. However, there has been a lot of conversation surrounding this topic, and a lot of people are mad that it's leaving. Now, I do vaguely remember life before Magical Express. We would, it depended on the trip. Sometimes we would go down and spend a couple days with my grandparents, and then my grandparents would do the driving for us, and other times we would get rental cars. So if Magical Express goes, it's not like you're not going to be able to get to Disney World. Like, you will still be able to do that. And any companies that went away that were offering services, like a lot of times you could get a town car, and it would include like a 30-minute stop at a local Publix and stuff on your way so that you could buy groceries, so you didn't have to like fly with those or anything. I think that you will probably see a resurgence in companies like that. Of course, you have things like Uber and Lyft, which still exist and will probably just become more competitive if more people are using them. Also, what I have heard is that while specifically Magical Express will be going away, which means like the Disney branded buses and this free service, that Mears, which is a motor coach company, and they actually run Magical Express. So they are a third-party service that Disney contracts out to, that they will still offer this service for a fee. To be completely honest with you, I will most likely do that option. Now, there are downsides to Magical Express. You have to wait for the bus to fill up a lot of times before they'll let you go to your hotel. The buses typically will stop at multiple hotels on their way. So like, it depends on where you're staying. I think like when we stayed at the Polynesian, I think they did Magic Kingdom, or they did the Polynesian, the Contemporary, and Grand Floridian. So it's usually like 3 hotels together. When they're picking you up and returning you to the airport for your return flight home, they typically pick you up about 3 to 3.5 hours before your flight. And I know for some people that is very early. Even for me, and I'm a pretty like early arrival to the airport person, it's even a little early to me, but Disney would prefer to err on the side of caution. And I'm sure all of that would stay in place if Mears was running this exclusively by themselves, just because it makes good business sense for them to do so. I do not know if the baggage part will ever come back. My understanding is that was also run by a separate third-party company that has gone out of business in the during the pandemic. So maybe when things return to normal and more people are traveling, that company or a similar company will step in and be able to offer that service again. The getting the bags from the airport to your hotel, I think, is easier than the other way around, because in order for you to do resort airline check-in for your bags, part of that is a TSA element. They need your bags to be considered secure. So if you've ever done the resort airline check-in, you'll notice that those are actually like airport employees, and those employees have TSA like clearance and stuff. You can see it on their badges. They've also always been like super amazing and nice people. I hope all of those people have like not lost their jobs. Because of that, because the baggage is going on the plane, there's like an extra security level there. So I don't know how easily it'll be for that to come back. I of course hope it comes back, and I would most definitely pay a premium for that. Now there is a line there for me. So if it's gonna cost me 25 bucks to do Magical Express, I'm gonna do Magical Express. But if it starts to go up to like the $50, $75 range, then I will most likely look into a Uber type situation, a town car, or even a rental car, and just do a one-day rental and return it at the car care center at Walt Disney World, because you can often get a one-day rental for like 40, 50 bucks. But I also don't want to drive myself. Like, I hate driving in my personal life, so, you know. But as of right now, you can still use Magical Express. It's just an abbreviated version. So if you want to add Magical Express to your vacation, currently, if you are staying in a standard resort, if you didn't add it at the point of making your reservation, which I never do because I make my room reservation typically long before my airline reservation can even be made, and you do need your airline reservation information. You're going to need your flight number and the airline that you're flying with, both returning and departing. If you have that information when you book your room, there'll be a spot to enter it right on the website. Otherwise, you can call Disney customer service and they will just add it right there for you. I'll put the number down in the description below. They're always very helpful. And then what they'll do is they used to mail you the luggage tags. They are still mailing you stuff, but it is just a letter telling you basically where to go for Magical Express once you get to the Orlando International Airport. If you are staying DVC, my understanding is you can add it online after your reservation has been booked. Why Disney hasn't allowed that service so that you can do self-service on the website for regular room reservations, I don't know. I would really appreciate it if they did it though. So you make your reservation. Now there's nothing you have to do really after that because there's no luggage tags or anything. You get to the airport, you go get your bags wherever your baggage claim is, and then you go over to Terminal B. As you get to Terminal B, there will be Magical Express signs up on the like directional things in the airport telling you where to go. And when you get there, it is kind of at like the end of a terminal. Like, it is kind of a hike. It's a pretty big walk, I would say. But you'll see people. There's a bunch of cast members there. What they will do is they will scan your magic band. This is not my magic band, but they'll scan one of the magic bands of somebody in your party, just with the scanners like they use at the resorts. So do you have your magic band available? Of course, if you don't, I'm sure they can figure it out for you. They will confirm your name, how many people are in your party, and the resort that you will be going to. After you confirm that, there are several aisles, like lanes, queues. They'll direct you on which one to go to. It is based on that grouping of resorts that you'll be going to. You'll get in there. Currently right now they're social distancing, so there's markers on the ground to keep you distanced. And then you'll wait for your bus. They will direct you to your bus. The bus driver will put your bags under the bus. They'll direct you to get on the bus, and then they will take you to your resorts and they'll get your baggage off. And I do tip. I recommend tipping. I usually give them like $5. I think $1 a bag is pretty standard. Right now with the coronavirus, what they're doing is they're obviously limiting the number of people who can get on the bus at a time. Although I will say in my experience, it didn't feel like it was adding a lot of extra time to your wait. And they would tell you specifically where to sit on the bus. And they were keeping the parties staggered. Like, so there would be rows between you, but also like right and left of the bus, like keeping it staggered that way. And so obviously depending on how big your party is, it may be easier or harder for you to get on a bus depending on how many people have already gotten on one or are waiting ahead of you. But we had no issues with ours coming or going, and we've had 2 trips since everything happened. Yeah, so that's what Magical Express is, and hopefully we will have something similar going into 2022. I'm sure as 2022 becomes closer, we'll learn more information. There is also talk of a high-speed railway going to Disney Springs. I'm not going to talk about that because I feel like that's years away and there's a lot of conversation. Nobody really knows what's going on. I'm not going to make a guess at how that would work. But that is Magical Express. That is how it works. I will leave some resources down below if you want to know some more information. And also if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I will try to answer them. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.